Hello, everybody, and welcome back to my channel. If you're new, I'm a diagnosed narcissist, but before I say the things I'm going to say in this video, keep in mind that I am not a licensed professional. So, anyway, uh, right off the bat, I just want to say that I'm glad to have been given the opportunity to, get the help that I did to find out about my mental health condition, to find out that I'm a narcissist, to find out that I have a cluster B disorder. But, you know, despite that, this video is going to be something that I've been thinking about quite often lately. And I guess I thought I should just, share it for a video. So it is nice. Well, not nice receiving a diagnosis that pretty much says, oh, you're this way because either you were traumatized as a kid or you have such crappy genetics that your just internal perception is just well, let's be honest, like wrong. It's just wrong. Because I mean that's how a mental disorder like works, right? Oh, you're not seeing things the way that a normal person does. You're not seeing things the way that a healthy person does. So for this video, I wanted to talk about like a lot of like hopelessness that I feel. I mean, if you've seen a lot of my videos, I'm sure you would know that's actually quite obvious. I feel pretty, hopeless. I feel pretty miserable. I'm actually fucking annoyed 24/7. Like every single second, I am actually extremely unhappy. And one of the things that I've said in my videos. I don't remember which one, but I'm okay. I'm glad I'm making these videos. I guess just for the sake of like I at least see somewhat of a structure in terms of like how I am because I think making these videos and just like talking, like off the top of my head and like on the spot because yes, there is no script for a lot of these videos. I am not a happy person, and any happiness that I actually experience is just a distraction from my pain and my boredom that is actually there 24/7. And the unfortunate thing about life is that, it's not a movie. It's not actually entertaining all the way through, like when you watch a movie or a TV show or like whatever. It's real life. And real life is fucking boring. You're just there and you're essentially just like waiting to die. Um, a lot of people get killed in like really like awful ways. Like let's say some kind of like torture or like whatever. But you know, even the most like painful, torturous deaths, they just they kill you instantly because there's only like so much like physical pain that your body can tolerate, right? Like too much physical pain, like let's say from somebody torturing you or like whatever, and eventually you'll just like you know give in and die. But here's the thing: mental illness, and I feel like I shouldn't be comparing because oh, what is this, the pity party Olympics, or what is this, the oppression Olympics? I don't fucking know. Like I shouldn't be comparing, I guess, but I do want to share a thought, or at least like I want to put you in my perspective towards how miserable having narcissistic personality disorder is. Or maybe let's just say how miserable it is having a cluster B disorder in general. Because from what I understand about myself, and the research that I've done and seeing other people talk about like their own experiences about like having cluster B disorders and like whatnot. We're emotionally unstable people. Like that's pretty much like what all cluster Bs have in common is basically poor emotional regulation and whatnot. So we're always these like uncomfortable, people, honestly. Like I think like as a cluster B individual, there's technically never a moment in your life where you actually feel safe. And I think what's sad about it is that when we ought to feel safe, I mean, it could be worse, right? Like look at me. I'm just here making a video. But the thing is I don't feel safe despite like numerous things I could think of like off the top of my head that somebody's having a more like dangerous situation. I don't know. Maybe right now somebody is running from like a psychomaniac that like wants to kill them or whatever. But even me sitting in my room right now, just recording a simple YouTube video like I usually do, I am not happy because in a moment where I feel like I should be safe, because I feel like there's somebody out there that's watching this and they might think to themselves like, "Oh wow, you're just here." Like, well, see, here's the thing though. It's irrational because I have a mental disorder, right? And I constantly just feel hopeless. And basically, like I guess like how I would paint it is that I'm just waiting for like the next horrible thing to happen. I'm just waiting for the most like I'm anticipating just like the worst thing to happen because this is what I think I understand about life. And when I look at like my other cluster B my cluster B brothers and sisters, we're just waiting for danger, right? Like, despite the fact that we want to avoid that constantly, that's why we have all our tactics, all our like, whatever. I mean, a lot of things that people might call manipulation, but like, we're just trying to look out for our safety because we never feel like I guess like safe in this like horrible, like, like terrible, shitty world. And yes, I'm going all over the place because that's what I'll do in my videos. And yeah, I have ADHD as well. So I word vomit the shit out of a lot of these videos if that wasn't, you know, already obvious. But the reason why I'm bringing up like let's say somebody that gets like tortured, which is arguably a worse situation than I'm in right now or that you're in right now, just quote unquote peacefully watching a YouTube video with like no interference of it. But the reason why I think that being alive at its core is like basically being like super miserable. Being alive like at your core is just like it's just pain basically because the like well there's obviously a lot of like nuance to this, but it's like the way that we can tolerate so much mental anguish, so much mental illness and so much pain. Well, unless you fucking like give in yourself and then just decide to, kill yourself, which if you're a cluster B individual, like I'll keep saying it because it's true, like the suicidality of a cluster B individual is just like way higher than the average person. But it's not actually easy to kill yourself. And I guess like it's like this is the only rationale that I have as to like why I'm still alive. It's not easy to kill yourself, honestly, despite how like miserable you are, like whatever. I mean, you can desire to kill yourself because I guess like maybe like your mental illness, like depression, let's just say, could like wanna make you just do yourself in. But like biologically, obviously there's like a survival instinct and whatnot. That's why there are like specific ways for you to kill yourself. That's why you can't hold your breath until like you die. Like, I don't know, you either hang yourself, struggle to get out of it, and then obviously you like suffocate and die. I don't know. You take a gun, put it against your head, fucking blow your brains out, and then you're just dead. But then in a lot of those moments, like you still feel some kind of fear, like some kind of like tremor, let's say. So it's like I don't like we're just like slaves to like our survival instinct, and we just have to live through the cognitive dissonance, even though we all know it's gonna be like over to begin with. And I guess you can get around this by believing in an afterlife if you're I don't know just so foolish to accept that. But I mean, whatever. This video is not going to be about religion. This video is not going to be about like yeah, that specifically because I just wanted to talk about how yeah, incredibly hopeless I feel. And you know, if you have a mental illness, I guess out of like most people that aren't as mentally ill, you just keep asking yourself that same question like every single day, or at least like for like me speaking, like at least like once a day, I actually ask myself like, is it possible for me to get better? And I guess a lot of people might say that if I'm entertaining the question, it shows that I perhaps still have like a little bit of hope if I can like wonder if I'll get better. But Honestly, if I'm being honest, like the more that I think about it, the more hopeless that I feel. Because why me in particular do I have to keep asking that question? Is there a way to get better? Like if you have a mental illness, it's like what can I do to like get um better? And a lot of people that just don't get it, or I guess just, that just don't understand, like, let's say in this case, like the cluster B experience, it's like, I don't know, you'll just be seen as like super dramatic, I guess. I mean, yes, I mean, I'll be honest, we're very like emotionally unstable people. So perhaps, yes, by definition, my emotions are like, super dramatic and they don't make sense at all. I mean, do feelings in general like even make sense? Facts don't care about your feelings, right? So, yeah, I just, I guess like emotionally, I just don't know how to deal with it. Because I mean, even people that are quote unquote not necessarily like let's say to this level of like being mentally ill on a cluster B like disorder, they still have emotions, but oh, they know how to use emotions the right way, perhaps, or I don't know. Like it's so like I've always been annoyed and uncomfortable with things that I can't like rationalize or explain, and a lot of times emotions have felt that way. If you're into typology, I'm an INTP. I hate things that I can't explain. I don't even know what I can explain because I look at the world and it's like everything's just a lie because everything's just like projected and and it's like it's extremely like without like foundation, and it's like with life you just have to keep like making stuff up as you go along. And it's like, yeah, the ones that are happy can like gaslight themselves with like their stupid constructions of things that are not actually there. Because there is nothing to find other than just a fucking, dark, empty void. And it's like other people can lie to themselves. I can't lie to them. I can't lie to myself. I just see, this like, like okay, like I guess like just to explain like how hopeless it feels or like how like miserable it is. Imagine like every single thought in your head is just being drowned out, I guess. Like like if you were on a speaker and the moment you started talking, they just like lowered the volume down. Like like how it feels to like experience this like empty void every single day. It feels like okay, like yeah, imagine like yeah, your voice is on a speaker, but it's only noticeable enough just so it can be shut down. It's only noticeable enough just so they can lower the volume. So like when I talk or when I say anything, it just feels like it's being drowned out. When I experience life and how I should be, grateful because it can be gone in like an instance or like or whatever. Like I'm never gonna get yesterday back. I'm never gonna get today back or something. So I should I don't know what is it that they say like appreciate the small things or like whatever. And I just can't. And I guess like a lot of that kind of like what I mentioned before about feeling like unsafe. Like I'm just in constant defense mode all the time. Whether it's like real or not, I just perceive some sort of like wrongness or some kind of like I guess to be straightforward, let's just say like some kind of like threat. I don't even trust myself. Because if I listen to myself, which I can't bear, like I see just as much toxicity inside and out. So I don't want to hear my own like inner critic, I guess is what you can call it. And as much as possible, I'm trying to, drown it out with, all this like narcissism that I'm trying my best to craft, but it's not real. Nothing nothing that I perceive just, feels real. And I feel like I'm giving myself up if I do want to get better. Or it's like, this is what's so stupid about having like narcissistic personality disorder because like I'm wrestling my own persona that on a psychological level I am ingrained and like deeply thinking truly is myself, even if like my higher awareness is telling me no, that is not me. I'm either a miserable guy or I'm just like a black empty void of like nothingness. But I don't understand how such a fake persona can act so. powerful. And I guess that's why it's frustrating to other people when, oh, they're dealing with like a narcissistic person, right? Because like, oh, this person is so like full of themselves. Like, yeah, tell me about it. Like when I'm talking to like my inner voice, I guess. Like I'm not trying to sound like schizophrenic or like whatever or something like that, but it's like I do feel the frustration that people have towards me, towards myself. But ironically, it feels like it's impossible to change that because I don't know how to survive beyond that. Uh, it's like I'm alive just by seeing the pity that I have for myself. So I'm saying like, okay, I'm saying fuck you to myself. I'm saying fuck you to the universe. I'm like, I don't know, like it's like I can only thrive on like some energy of like hate or whatever because what does hatred consist of? I guess you can say like offensiveness. I guess you can say rudeness or like whatever, and it's unapologetic for itself. So why do I have to explain something? I think this is good when I try to like piece it together. Like like a narcissistic attitude, a narcissistic persona of arrogance and stuck upness is unapologetic about the way it is. So, like, crafting it as like my psychological profile, it 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 is relieving in like ways that it is before it like crashes down and I realize that like my whole like insecurity is just leaking out or whatever. But then like see like it's like my struggles with like my object constancy again because like I can't stick to one thing about myself or I can't incorporate anything about myself because like I'm trying my best to understand that you know supposedly as a human you are not like one singular thing but you're like a whole like a bunch of things like you're like nobody is this like one dimensional like persona supposedly but it's like no it's too contradictory. It's like I want to exist being one thing all the time. I do want to exist as like my narcissistic persona a lot of times. Like I truly do, even if I feel like I know it's fake. Like I just want to exist like that constantly. Like I wish that could be me. I wish I didn't have to reach a point where it's like I realize that it's not real. And I think like this is what makes like I guess like getting mental help about it like so like difficult because I have to trust somebody else to like pull me out of it, so to speak. Well, I mean, I know that like basically like your doctor, like whatever, can't do all the work for you, obviously. So like basically they can only help you help yourself. But it's like I where do I even start? I guess is like my constant, you know, struggle. I was thinking about one thing that I remembered from therapy, and I thought it would be, like good to share for like, the topic, the context of like, this video. One time, my therapist just wanted me to like basically pretend that I was apologizing to somebody. No, 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 it wasn't apologizing to somebody. Well, wait, well, yeah, I think it might have been. Well, what I do remember is basically like she wanted me to pretend and you know I guess admitting fault to somebody, saying, okay, yeah, like, yeah, an apology and an admission to some sort of like wrongness. I guess she wanted me to say, I'm sorry, I was wrong. And I struggled really hard to say those words. I got myself to do it, but it was so crippling. And I guess you could just say shame. Like, I can't stand living that way. But it's like to receive help for my like NPD, I have to be able to understand that like, okay, I'm not perfect, despite how, desperately that I want to believe that I am and that I have no flaws and, there's nothing wrong with me. I can never be wrong about anything whatsoever. What I say is law. I might as well be God. Like God's not real, but I might as well be God, let's say. So, it's it's just it's just a nightmare. And I feel like I should be able to do better because I always hear that like, oh, narcissists wouldn't even put themselves like in therapy or like whatever. But I did go to therapy and found out that I was, a narcissist, and I feel just as hopeless. And it's like I'm beating myself right now because I think to myself that like, okay, it's as if like I might as well not have gone because I don't feel like I can change. And well, yeah, like just to be honest about it, like I can't actually change, at least like on a psychological, like pathological, like level or like whatever. Like my, disorder is just there. But it's like I guess like even if I make improvements, how will I ever actually know I'm like making like small steps of like improvement at all? Because like, okay, I guess to just like sum it up, like as a narcissist, or if I'm like speaking for like the whole like cluster B thing in general, I obviously can't talk about like anybody else's like specific like, experiences and whatnot. But it's like as a cluster B individual, like you will always feel like there is something fundamentally wrong with you because you just have to second guess yourself all the time. Because it's like you perceive threats everywhere. You perceive like unsafetyness, everywhere. And it might not even be there, but it's like, your mind's just constantly preparing for like some form of like danger or like assessing some sort of like, oh, what's my next attack before somebody can quote unquote like attack me. And yeah, it makes the world so uncomfortable and it like paralyzes me because I feel like if I can't be on the offensive, it's like I can't even do anything because like then it's like I start doubting myself. But I mean like, life doesn't wait for anybody. It just keeps happening, right? Like whatever, like this or that. And I've always been a more like contemplative, like analytical person. I'm an INTP. So yeah, it's like yeah, like I'm just like stuck because it's like if I can't like destroy the threat, I can't actually do anything because now I'm there just like and it's like the greatest thing that I can hope for if I'm not like, eliminating what might like possibly be like some sort of like threat or some sort of like danger to me is just trying to disappear or, trying not to be like perceived at all. Or it's like, yeah, and in all honesty, in a lot of cases, perhaps like walking away from like an uncomfortable situation, like obviously just like, is the best. So that's not necessarily like a bad thing, I think. But it's like, I go away and I feel like I'm always missing out on my life because I can't connect to anybody. I can't attach to anybody. I can't like, I can't even attach to myself. So it's like, if I do separate from something and it's like, okay, maybe that was like the best thing before like doing something like stupid, hypothetically, or whatever. But it's like, I feel like a temporary sense of like relief. But then right when I think I get to feel safe, I'm just nothing. It feels like I might as well just be, you know, dead when at a time I should say, okay, good, I got away from the emergency. Or what I perceived to be an emergency anyway, let's just say. Is emergency the right word? Fuck, I don't know. Like okay, like, I guess like some sort of like annoyance or like frustration, like I'll just say that. And then I still realize that like I'm stuck with myself. And even if like I got away from like somebody, something, whatever that like I didn't like, I'm still with somebody that I don't even like either. Myself. And the only escape from that is what's underneath, which is basically like, nothing, no person. And it's like straight up, yes, I am a fucking, dead body. Well, I said a lot of things, so I guess I'll just like end it there. Whatever.